Hi everyone, and welcome to Bluebeam Revu. My name is Ari, and I'm a Bluebeam certified instructor with Digital Drafting Systems. Today, we're going to learn about the new punch key feature in our tool chest with Revu. Let's head to our tool chest. We can find it right here on the left side. And we've already talked about some new features in our What's New with Revu 21.6, and this punch key feature is part of it. So there's a couple ways to access it. We can go to the tool chest dropdown, and we can go to Manage Tool Sets. Here we can select a specific tool group and then edit it right here. There is another way that could be faster. You can instead click on the gear wheel next to your name for your tools. And if I collapse my tools, you're going to see that there's different gear wheels for each tool group. So I can edit each one and create punch keys for that tool group. So I'm going to click on this and click on Edit. Now we can see some settings that we've seen in the past, and the new feature that we're looking for is here on the bottom left side. So this is a really cool feature. Once we select it, we have a few options. We can import existing punch keys from another program. Essentially, the import will be a CSV file, and we could take this either by making it from scratch, as is laid out right here, or we can import one from Bluebeam Revu that we created. So if we have many different kinds of punch keys, then we can essentially bring them onto another device if we do switch devices. The export function is pretty interesting. When we export, of course, our file extension is CSV, and so we can basically export that. And here we're going to go back and we're going to add a new one from scratch within Revu. Now, we're essentially creating a brand new markup from scratch. So how this works is we can give it a subject. So if I'm dealing with the punch key for electrical, for example, I'm going to call it electrical punches, okay? Or I'll just say electrical punch in this case. The punch key itself, I can give this anything I want, whether it's letters or numbers or whatever. So this is what's going to be visualized onto the screen as part of the markup. So let's call this E1, for example. And then for the comment, we can write in what this actual punch key means. So we can say electrical circuit 1, for example. And the shape of the punch key, we can give this any shape we want. My favorite is triangle, so you guys will see that very soon. We can give this shape a color, so I'm going to use my favorite one, which is orange. And then we can assign a layer to this. And you saw in the previous area when we were in the import section that these options correspond with how we have to create that CSV file. So keep that in mind. The design is fine to explain in due time how punch keys work. Little reference for you guys. So let's give this a layer. I'm going to call this electrical. And then we're going to click on Add before we click on Done. You don't have to do this, but look what happens when we click on Add. It actually gives us a prompt that says the punch key was successfully added, and our tool chest actually has the new punch key now. Let's look at it there. So we're going to go and click on Done. We're going to click OK. We're going to scroll down to the tool chest, and there it is, E1. So all of this is now modifiable in the tool chest itself. Let's select this and let's look in properties right here. And we can see that this is actually a group annotation. So this punch key essentially combined the triangle shape with a text box. Let's actually see what those components are. So I'm going to place this onto the screen right here. Excellent. And what's nice about creating this punch key from here is that while it is essentially a static set of letters and numbers, we can right-click on this and sequences can now be created from our punch keys. So we could do this manually, but instead we can essentially make our own sequence from this. Now, let us see what these components are. We're going to be selecting this, right-click, and ungroup. And here we go. We have multiple objects now. We're going to press escape and then click on the text first. This is a text box, like I theorized, not a typewriter. And the triangle is essentially a polygon. It is not an exact triangle. We don't really have triangles in this program, but a polygon was used. And what's nice about this is that all the sides are equal. So it does do a lot of things for us automatically. However, what we could do instead is we could actually make our own punch key without using that automated feature by essentially taking a text box and changing the shape around it, which then activates the shape. And look at that, we have another triangle. This is now not a group annotation, this is a combined markup. We can actually see how the triangles are a little bit different from each other, even in terms of their angles, et cetera, and their sizes, but they're about the same, as you can see here. And that's it. So there is that new automated feature, but we can then take this and essentially create our own punch keys with the same visualization from one markup instead of having a group annotation. Let's go back to the tool chest, and we're going to go to the Manage Tool Sets area right here. Let's select our tool group, edit. Just wanted to show you guys how we got back here again. And that's it, and this is how punch keys work. Now, what we can actually do as well is clear, which means every single item in the tool chest can be deleted completely. So you have to be very careful with this, so we're going to say no. And that's essentially what's new with punch keys and some stuff in the tool chest related to punch keys in Review 21.6. Thanks very much for watching our tutorial on punch keys in Bluebeam Revu. Once again, my name is Ari, and I'm with Digital Drafting Systems. Hope you have a great rest of your day.